Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to the final segment of Morning Break. Now it's time to go and see what Sister Sidra has to say.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Sidra and I'm your life coach. This week we are talking about journaling, the importance of writing stuff down to help you clear your mind. So I'm going to share a technique with you which would allow you to let go of anything that's been bothering you from the past and that's been taking over your thoughts consistently. So what I want you to do is actually set a time aside and think of anything that has been bothering you or has been on your mind for the last few days consistently. So what you do is you sit down, take a piece of paper and write every single feeling about the event you have experienced that have been on your mind. You feel annoyed, you feel frustrated, you feel angry, all the emotions you are feeling regarding that event, just put them down on paper. And the key here is to be completely non-judgmental and stop thinking about the event rationally, what you should have felt or what you could have done. Just write down how you feel about it, because it's not what happens to us, it's how we react to it. And what we're doing here is actually taking the thing that has been bothering us and that's been on our mind and just putting it on the paper. Because if you remember from my previous shows, emotion is actually just an energy in motion, and what have you been feeling is just an energy. And by putting it down on the paper, by journaling it, you are actually releasing that energy from your body, and as a result you will feel a lot lighter, a lot calmer and a lot focused. So you will raise the cloud of emotions around the event, and that would allow you to have lots of clarity and make a decision with focus and rational mind. And what you do with that paper is actually you rip it or burn it. So what you're doing is metaphorically is letting go of it because it's no longer important for you. Good luck with that tip. That would help you clear your mind from the past. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me at morningbreak@ahlulbayt.tv. Assalamu alaikum.
I really like that idea of transferring energy, or negative energy in particular, into something else. And I think it's kind of similar to Salah, but for someone who wants to try it in a different way, writing it on paper and then throwing it away or burning it is actually really quite a liberating thing to do, actually, because you feel like it would actually physically feel like you've got rid of something. And I think that would help, I guess, almost start afresh after that.
I've never actually tried that, but it does seem useful. That obviously, I agree with what you're saying, that it would seem liberating, but also when you're kind of unhappy or something like that, you want to get something out. It's sort of, my life is just so busy. If I'm going to write something, I'm going to write it on my phone. So I just think, I suppose it's something that what's more important is that it's a metaphor, isn't it? You write it down and then maybe you can envisage it in your mind as well. You're writing it down and then you're just, just folding it all up and just putting it away or just burning it or something like that. And maybe that, I think also psychologically, I think what she's saying also is the fact that maybe we can't practically do it because some people might not necessarily write or journal everything down. But I think also if if something is bothering you or an event has bothered you, maybe that's just personally me, and maybe all I would do, because I'm so busy and I can't necessarily journal everything down in my life, I would probably just envisage me writing it down and just saying, right, okay, that's it, putting it to one side, forget about it. So I don't know, I guess it's all down to interpretation, what you can take on and what you can fit in your life.
So true. But now it's actually time for the fact of the week. So what fact do you have for us this week?
Well, this week I actually picked out a very interesting fact that I was quite surprised at. Now, I know when you sneeze, it comes out pretty fast and it's about over 100 miles per hour. But I've read that the average cough comes out of your mouth at 60 miles per hour. So if you think about it, how many times we cough, just generally, I'm not just saying in terms of even if you have a cold or anything like that, but something gets stuck in your throat, or your throat's a bit dry, or you are just coughing. That's how quickly it comes out. So, and I suppose that then made me think about the fact that, you know, when you sneeze, you're told it's the mechanism of the body to expel germs, get rid of bacteria. And it's the same with the cough. Obviously, there's something there tickling in your, in your throat, so maybe that's why also you're coughing. But also the fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made this kind of mechanism where basically it's so important to get rid of these germs, to get rid of these bacteria, that the body is, getting rid of them at such top speed, if you think about it. So, alhamdulillah, mashallah, that's I was pretty impressed at that.
Yeah, and I think that's why, recently with this whole swine flu epidemic as well, I think that's why they were stressing the importance of covering your mouth or using a tissue, because if you cough so quickly, then obviously germs are spread very quickly and probably travel quite a distance unknowingly. So I think that's quite a useful fact, actually, probably stressing the importance of being very careful when you cough.
Exactly, absolutely. And I think a lot of people think that when they sneeze, oh yeah, I'll cover my face with my hands. But actually, when you're coughing also, a lot of people don't necessarily cover their mouth with their hands. And I think that's also important because obviously germs are going to spread.
Well, thank you for that. It's good to learn something new every week.
Well, actually, now it's time to wrap up. But just before we do, let's take a look at Humaira's Jara video journal.
السلام عليك يا بنت سلطان الأنبياء السلام عليك يا بنت صاحب الحوض واللواء السلام عليك يا بنت من عرج به إلى السماء ووصل إلى مقام قاب قوسين أو أدنى.
Over here you've come to one of the saddest areas, which is where Sayyidah Zainab was sitting when she saw shimmer mounting the chest of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam.
It's not easy, wallahi, it's not easy to see even a chicken being killed in front of you. If chicken is not easy, what about the goat, cow, camel? What about human being? Not only normal human being, your brother, subhanallah, your brother. So close, brother, to see him being slaughtered in front of you. I believe many people would go crazy, will lose their intellect. But it was not for Zainab salamullahi alayhi. And here we are coming closer where we can say we see the blessings of Allah. If someone is close to Ahlul Bayt, really if you ask Allah sincerely, your du'as will be accepted. We see here, was Lady Zainab, was she a ma'suma? Was she imam like other imams? No, she was not. But because of her attachment to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, she did dua. As you can see clearly, the earth went above in order for her to see. So we believe if we go there, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sincerely, our duas will be accepted insha'Allah.
Assalamu alaikum. We are here at the house of Imam Jafar as-Sadiq alayhi salam. It's about 10 minutes walk from the Haram of Imam Hussein. We've just got permission to film here. So as you can see behind me, this is where Imam as-Sadiq used to come after the events of Karbala. What's interesting about this place is that apparently back when he was here, this whole entire house, as you can see behind me, was shaded by trees. So what's interesting is that he chose that because he wanted to, at the time, keep a low profile because of the fact that he'd already been kind of not allowed to go back into Medina. And so he spent a lot of time here. A lot of our teachings obviously come from Imam Jafar as-Sadiq alayhi salam. And so he used to come here and he used to preach about the importance of doing ziyarah of his father, probably telling people about the events of Karbala, making sure he's propagating the message. So people used to come here, and just right behind me, as you can see, people used to come here and sit down, and he would have lessons with them. And apparently what's very sad is that behind me, you would have been able to see a dome, but in the 90s, in the same year that they also tried to attack the harem of Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas, they also attacked the dome that was behind us as well. So as you can see, there is no dome anymore, unfortunately, but it probably would have been made into a small shrine before.
I actually remember going to Imam Jafar Sadiq al-Islam's house also. What were your feelings and emotions when you went there?
Well, I didn't even know it existed, to be honest. I was quite surprised when I got there, and I think the night before someone said, "Oh, we're going to go the next day, do you want to come?" Because as you can see, there's only a small group of us there. We didn't go with the whole group. And I wasn't even sure whether we were going to be allowed to film there and stuff, so we just sort of dropped by to see what it was like. And I just thought it was really cool, to be honest, because it's not so close and not so far from the harem, and just to think of the context in which our Imam used to go there and teach, and almost like this whole idea around secrecy in the house as well, because people obviously our Imam didn't want people to find out that he was teaching people. And so I think that's really cool, and the house itself is so simple that it's quite easy to envisage what it would have been like there, and just like the fact that it's now used for people to go and pray there, etc., is really nice. And yeah, to hear that our Imam also had a garden, I think that's really cool, because we don't often hear about things like that. And the garden itself, as inshallah you will see, which is it's very simple, but it's now used for different things. And I think it's just like, to me, a garden is like quite a peaceful place, and it's quite chilled out. And to think that our Imam used to go there, and you can imagine him contemplating God and just the nature of it all, and it was supposed to have been beautiful. Unfortunately, it's not so much now, but just the very fact that it's joint on to the house of our sixth Imam is great, and you feel quite blessed to actually be able to step into a house where he lived. So alhamdulillah.
Yeah, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. And inshallah we will actually see you visiting Imam Jafar Sadiq al-Islam's garden next week. And inshallah you can catch that next Sunday.
Okay, well now it's time for us to wrap up. It's come to the end of the show, but don't forget, if you have any comments or suggestions or ideas for future shows, please do email us at morningbreak@ahlulbayt.tv. Until next Sunday, we look forward to seeing you. From both myself and Fatima, Assalamu alaikum.
Angry, all the emotions you are feeling regarding that event, just put them down on paper. And the key here is to be completely non-judgmental and stop thinking about the event rationally, what you should have feel or what you could have done. Just write down how you feel about it, because it's not what happens to us, it's how you is actually set a time aside and think of anything that has been bothering you or have been on your mind for the last few days consistently. So what you do is you sit down, take a piece of paper and write every single feeling about the event you have experienced that have been on your mind. You feel annoyed, you feel frustrated, you feel
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to the final segment of Morning Break. Now it's time to go and see what Sister Sidra has to say.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Sidra and I'm your life coach. This week we are talking about journaling, the importance of writing stuff down to help you clear your mind. So I'm going to share a technique with you which would allow you to let go of anything that's been bothering you from the past and that's been taking over your thoughts consistently. So what I want you to do is we react to it, and what we're doing here is actually taking the thing that has been bothering us and that's been on our mind, and just putting it on the paper. Because if you remember from my previous shows, emotion is actually just an energy in motion, and what have you been feeling is just an energy. And by putting it down on the paper, by journaling